Oh, I think I'm live. Am I live? You never can know with YouTube. Welcome everyone. Then I'm gonna do a short live stream on William Hurt, who died yesterday, March 13th, or we got the news on March 13th. William Hurt was one of my favorite actors. So Hollywood actor who has a long career, and I just wanted to take a look at his career with you and just to see, how potent he was and how remarkable his career was as far as the breadth and depth of his work as an actor. And you guys know on this channel, I don't really praise actors that much. I tend to focus on other things like directors, movies, themes, meanings. Because you just never know with actors whether they're real good or everybody else working on a film has made them look good. But with Hurt, given his career span and all the movies he was in, the really good ones he was in, I just have to think he was quite, one, good at his craft, two, he knew how to pick a script, or his agent did. And so I want to give him some praise for that. Thanks for joining me for this ad hoc live stream, by the way. But I figured, let's take a look at Hurt, who I was trying to think about this on the way over here to my office. Is he in the top 50? Is he a top 50 Hollywood actor? Male actor. Let's just stick with males. Is he top 50? I'm tempted to say yes. Top 100 almost certainly. But when you look at what he did during the 1980s, and then everything thereafter, but especially the 80s, it was really a killer run. I mean, you don't get actors and lead actors who choose movies with this much depth and do it that well. So I'm going to go down through his 80, this is backwards. On IMDb, we got to go up. But he was born in 1950? So and by the way, this live stream is about, as from a perspective of a film viewer, I don't know the man personally. I know nothing about him as a person. I'm only looking at what I saw on camera, and all I know as a movie viewer. So when I look at his career, if you look at these movies, now someone on my channel recommended Eyewitness, which I have never seen. I'm tempted to watch it because, it's 5.9 out of 10 on here, but I'm tempted to watch it because his stretch run here is just great in the 1980s. And let me give you a few recommendations, or I'll give you reasons to watch some of these movies. Altered States, if you want to do a deep dive into science fiction, is a really weird, an unusual science fiction movie, semi-mainstream, but it's his first movie performance. And if I remember correctly, you read the description here of Altered States, it spans millions of years. And only, a couple science fiction movies ever span millions of years. Very easy to do in written science fiction, but hard to do in film science fiction. So I suggest this if you are really interested in a weird, trippy science fiction movie. As it says, a psychophysiologist experiments with drugs. So there's that one. And then, of course, Body Heat. I think most people know that one, a noir from 1981, written by Lawrence Kasdan. I really like that movie a lot. There's too much sex in it for me, but other than that, it's a good, is it neo-noir or a 1980s noir? Then you go on up, and you're like, wow, The Big Chill he was in, Gorky Park, that's maybe relevant today. Kiss of the Spider Woman, I think that's the one he got an Oscar for. I could be wrong, but he got an Oscar for one of these. Children of a Lesser God, Broadcast News. All right, so that's a killer stretch run in my opinion. Now, all of these movies are literary. What I mean by literary, they're complex, rich, and elusive. Allusive. And Hurt somehow picked movies, or is able to be a leading man in these movies. And I just love his face. For one, he's handsome, but two, it's this, he conveys a range of, I would say melancholy emotions with his face. It was, and I think he played a diverse range of characters. The American actors tends to be that they get criticized for being sort of one-notish. They only can do themselves or a persona. But I think Hurt did more than a persona, even though the dominant thing I remember about him is that he was so he had this melancholy face. It kind of worked really well for a private detective, sort of Philip Marlowe character, which he played above. And I'll show you a movie he played above. But the one I recommend very, very strongly, if you like rich literature, is The Accidental Tourist. I really like that movie a lot. I find he was great in that, and the rating on here is absurdly low. And I'll do a video on this movie at some point. But it's really, really good, in my opinion. Now, I haven't watched it in a few years. I'll rewatch it. Lawrence Kasdan directed, yeah. And wrote part of the screenplay. But I find this movie to be really, really good. Ebert gave it 4 stars. That's probably the reason I saw it initially. So, among all the broadcast news, I haven't seen that in a long time. I don't know if it's still relevant to today or if this is like old now, given the media scenario in 2022. But you should tell me which of these movies you really like, because I think if you like one and you like William Hurt in them, you will like many of them. Now, I'm going to skip over a bunch of these, but as I was looking over William Hurt's filmography, I realized he's got a science fiction. Well, of course, I love science fiction. Some of you know that. I made many videos on it. He was involved in science fiction, and to a degree I didn't realize, in Altered States. But then I noticed he was in Until the End of the World, which I totally forgot he was in that movie. I don't even know why I forgot that, but you may know this movie. Very long movie from Wim Wenders. Is it worth watching? Yeah, it's another one of those where we want to do a deep dive into science fiction. It's definitely worth trying. I think it's longer than 2 hours, 38 minutes. I think there's a director's cut that's 5 hours long or something like that on the Criterion disc. So, lots of movies here. Jane Eyre, I've seen them all. I don't remember how great he is in that. But the one, another one to mention, science fiction, I did Lost in Space. Some of you may remember that. But Dark City is a movie I really love. Another noir, but this is science fiction noir with one of the most bizarre spaceships you've ever seen in a movie. I love the retro, maybe Art Deco style in that. But it's really good, I think. And it's an interesting movie to watch along with The Matrix, because very similar issues coming up with that. Dark City and The Matrix made about the same time. And he plays a detective. William Hurt plays a detective. You can see the title Inspector in this. So it's a perfect role. It's like they wrote the role for him. Now, some of these movies, once we get into the late 1990s, I don't know from Hurt. Artificial Intelligence. I'm just going to keep highlighting the science fiction ones I know. Changing Lanes. I'm trying to remember that one. But, of course, people remember A History of Violence, which he has a very small role in that. I'm not going to spoil what it is. It's a David Cronenberg movie. It definitely deserves to be watched by some of you. And it's quite interesting, and he does a turn in that. I think he got Oscar nominated, and it's not quite what you would imagine William Hurt to be. The Village is a movie I liked when it came out, but I haven't seen it in a long time. It got panned. I think this is when M. Night Shyamalan took a deep dive off a cliff as far as his reputation, but I kind of liked some of the ideas in that movie, and I have to rewatch that to see how William Hurt did in that. But I remember his performance in that. He has to do 3 things at once. And he has to know that he's tricking you, but not show off that he's tricking you. So look at this career. I mean, it's just long and unbelievable. I'm supposing many of you know him from The Incredible Hulk, in reprising a role. I don't really know this, the Marvel stuff. So he did all of these Marvel movies, Captain America. He was in Avengers, a couple, So those of you in Black Widow, right? So he revived his career, or is known to younger viewers through that. But those of you who are coming to this channel, and a lot of young people watch this channel, if you don't know William Hurt, go watch him as a leading man back in one of those 1980s movies. And if I'm going to recommend one, try Body Heat, if you can stand all unnecessary sex in it. A lot of people like Gorky Park, or Kiss of the Spider Woman, I have to rewatch that to know if it's dated. And Broadcast News. I haven't seen those in a long time. But I'm recommending The Accidental Tourist if you like rich, complex characters, rich story, that sort of thing. Now, are any of these movies like all-time classics? That was interesting when I thought about this. William Hurt, I know him really well. I've seen him in a lot of movies. And I really like him a lot. Every time I see him, it's like, oh, that's William Hurt. Great. This is going to be a better movie because of William Hurt's presence. But I didn't notice, none of these are like, well, that's one of the top 100 movies ever, according to IMDb. So it's interesting he was never in a movie like that, or not one that I'm spotting immediately here. Has anyone seen the Dune TV miniseries? Because I have not. And yeah, it's another science fiction movie show he was in. Into the Wild. There's one you may know him from as well. All right, so it's remarkable for an actor to transition from a leading man, which he was for a long time or for a decade or more, into all of these more niche or character roles where he really livened everything up. And to be able to do that, and he must have loved acting. He must have liked being in Hollywood movies. The Robin Hood movie from Ridley Scott. And it just goes on till the end of his career. And, of course, he died, yesterday. But I'm wondering what you all think his best movie is or his best role. He's going to come out in a couple of other movies, apparently. I don't know about any of these, if these are acclaimed or not. But so William Hurt, rest in peace. Handsome man, good actor, apparently. Top 50 ever, male actor in Hollywood. Could be. When I saw the news, I was saddened. And normally I see these actors die and I go, well, I thought that person was already dead. I have some, cynical or non-reaction. But William Hurt, it's like, oh, I wish I could see him in another new movie. That was my reaction. I should rewatch one or two of his movies again. And so, great 1980s run there. 90s did good stuff, and so on and so forth. So he was, one reason I'm doing this is, given my age, he was a staple of my life and a movie watching life. Let's put it that way. So I'm just curious as to what you all think about him and about his career and so on. Let me go look at the chat here and see. Now I'll interact with you a little bit. The Walt McCandless role in Into the Wild. You called him stoic in Into the Wild, and he had that sort of melancholy stoic look, which could be his persona that typified him. I'm quite sad, really. I don't like to see good actors or people I like died. Yeah. Oh, my title is from a past live stream. Well, I got to change the title. Okay, I'll change the title afterwards. Yeah. The Matrix stole the Dark City motif. That was always my thought, and then because Dark City came out a year before. I think something was in the air then in the mid to late 90s with all that paranoid conspiracy science fictional stuff that was going on. And there's a number of movies that have that. So I can't say the Wachowskis ripped it off, but they have 50 influences. And when you watch Dark City, you go, oh, that was in The Matrix, but Dark City did it first. And I always, it's probably my favorite movie of all the ones that we just looked at. Ebert loved it. It's got a really great look to it. It's fun. I do enjoy the message in it. The message of Dark City, there's a number of them, but one of them is that the character is sort of in control of his own destiny, which is a super basic message, but I find it to be lacking in recent movies. Broadcast News. I need to rewatch a couple of these because I really like the guy, so. I didn't know that he died. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. Until the End of the World is a different... If the 5-hour cut, you just let's split it into 3. I tried to watch it on I have access to a giant screen with great sound. So I split it into two, and it wasn't easy to get through. I felt it was like disjointed, and it probably needs to be cut, but then how do you cut Until the End of the World? It's an apocalyptic movie. It's fun if you like science fiction, so there you go. Now, thanks for all the compliments here in the chat, by the way. I appreciate it. And thanks for joining in when basically unannounced. So, saw The Quiet Man for the first time yesterday. That's off topic, but The Quiet Man, a fabulous, fabulous novel. Graham Greene, probably my favorite Graham Greene novel. So yeah, R.I.P. William Hurt. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. I appreciate it, but hopefully we don't lose more actors in the near future. I don't want to do these live streams, but people are getting older, unfortunately. That's just the way of the world. So, but Hurt is probably one of my top. I get this question a lot, who are your favorite actors? And sometimes I would just blank or forget people. I would say Hurt, if I made a list, is in the top 30 to 40, maybe. Maybe. I don't know. But he's up there and was in so many movies I enjoy or think are good or interesting or worth watching. And so a lot of you want recommendations, and I always say, or I have said, go to the favorite directors you have and watch all of their movies. That's the best method of all. Another method is to find an actor who knew how to find good scripts and was in good, complex, rich movies, and then go watch all that actor's filmography. So one of those for certain for me is Jack Nicholson. You know, you look at his stretch run in the 1970s. It's absolutely amazing. He knew how to pick good scripts. He liked rich, complex stuff. I think William Hurt is in that category. I think he liked good literature. It was interesting to read a little bit about him. He had a theology degree before he went into acting. I think it always helps these actors to have a little bit of a background in some rich discipline. Something like Tommy Lee Jones, being a philosopher or having a philosophy degree, that sort of thing. So anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate your comments, by the way. Always, I'll read them all. I try to respond to some of them. So thanks. I got to go, but hope you all stay well and live in peace. See you later.